So today I am going to attempt to rid my landscape beds of all of the noxious invasive weeds that I have in here. Starting with this section right here, I have a couple different things. I have a couple different broadleaf weeds, and another one I have in here is a notorious grassy weed up here, which is a big pain in the ass, and that is quackgrass. Quackgrass, in case you don't know, it's a rhizomatous cool season perennial. Big problem in a lot of cool season grasses. It's not the most pleasant looking thing, and it's got these stems that grow off of the limbs here. It's got these limbs that grow off of the stems here, and it has these little auricles that like hug around the actual base, if you will. And because of that, they're such a pain. They're such a pain, and even worse is their growth pattern. They grow underground, and they spread via rhizomes, so they grow a lot of grids, and it's really bad. Now, I've done videos on this grass before and how to control it in turf grass. If you want to see that, we'll talk about that later. But in the landscape beds, it's an absolute nuisance if you're not on top of it. Now, this actually came from a couple of years ago when I had to do some grade work on this before we got it redone. And when I did that, I brought dirt from behind my fence, and the biggest mistake I made was not making sure that dirt was clean, as it was loaded with this stuff. So this entire section right here for the past 6 years has been littered with nothing but quackgrass, no matter what I've done to it. So what I'm going to do today isn't necessarily going to permanently get rid of it, but it's going to, just clean up the appearance a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on mechanical riddance. So I got some onion plants here around this North Korean dwarf, which, by the way, very pretty, different variety of lilac. But these are they're invasive. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just literally going to pull them out. Now, I do not recommend doing this with quackgrass at all, because it's just going to grow back again. But if you're a maintenance crew and you're dealing with this, sometimes it's what you got to do. You just got to pull it out from under the plants. Fun fact, this subdivision, I used to take care of the weeds on the entryways, and one of the ways we take care of it around the plants is we would just pull them out, because they are such a pain. But yeah, they get intermingled with the plants and they look terrible, so we're just gonna not pull the ones around it, but the ones that are growing like intermingled with it, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing. Now, like I said, these will come back, the ones that are growing around the plants, that is for sure. But there's nothing I can do about that right now, or at least nothing I know of that'll keep them from coming back. So what I would ask a lot of you guys, because I'll tell you one thing I do not like about being a YouTuber at this age. Everybody thinks they have it all figured out. I know everything. Jake doesn't like to learn. That is wrong. That's what the comments section is for. So if any of you guys who've been doing this for a while want to help a young kid out, comment below some ways to permanently get rid of this stuff, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it in a video and maybe even give you credit for it if it's a good idea. But yeah, comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. But for now, I'm just pulling it out from right here, because I cannot stand it. So this landscaping here, we had it done, by the way, back in 2020. A good friend of mine, CNI Services, some of you guys may know him on Instagram. He made the trip all the way from north side of Chicago to come help me out, which was cool. He made the trip from Clarendon Hills to come help me out, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, he did a really great job. I'll tell you one thing right now, I haven't done the best job of keeping this, and if there's anything my longtime viewers know about me, it's that if you've been watching me for the past 10 years, my beds have never been the greatest. Well, we're going to change that. These beds are going to be beautiful. Now, they've had their moments in the last couple years, especially since I had this landscaping done where it looked great, but my weed management could be a little better, and that's what we're going to be initiating today. So, pulling a lot of this out. Okay. couple growing right here. Interestingly enough, this is a portion of my old grass growing right here. Wicked crazy. Now on to the chemical parts. So as I showed you guys there, when I have a small patch of weeds, I pull them. But if I have a bigger patch, which I do around the actual plants, I have to spray them. Okay, let me get this open. Okay. I'm going to show you guys a little snippet of what I do for work, because I do offer this in my business. When I'm doing bed management and I have to use a 2-gallon sprayer, a 4-gallon sprayer, one or the other, it really is a pain to have to mix every time you run out. So what I do is I have a 26-gallon nurse tank filled with my concentration, and then when I run out, I could simply take this and just go right in here. It's a little trick of the trade for you. That's how the pros do it. Now, if you're a DIYer and you're only doing roughly 1,000 square feet of bed space, you can easily get away with one of these, most likely. And maybe even less in the future if you stay on top of it. Go ahead and pump. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, it might be a good idea to do a bleed test. If you want to know what that is, we can do an upcoming piece of content on that for sure. Comment below if you want to see that. But I've already bled the same product through this line, so I know exactly what's in here. Nothing different, nothing new. So we're going to skip that because it's already done. So when you do this, you want to make sure you're wearing your personal protective equipment, long sleeves, long pants, eye protection, rubber boots. A hat would be nice too. Now, they say shoes and socks. I actually have spray boots I wear, but since we're not that in depth, I'm just wearing the shoes and socks. None of this stuff's going to get on my shoes. If it does, I'll be in big trouble. That's for sure. Because I don't want to be tracking this to any of my client properties. You're not really complicating it here. All we're looking to do really is spray the leaves until they're wet. Now over here, we're not going to have much of a problem with that because a lot of the weeds here, I cut them down. Now when you cut them down, you don't want to cut them down too low to the point where it can't absorb anything. But you do want to cut them down in some cases so that you can safely spray them without hitting your ornamentals. Now there are cones and things that we could throw on our sprayer, but given how wide this invasion is, that's not really ideal for me at this time, so I'm not going to do that. So this is all I'm going to do. It's nice and easy. I do have a little bit right under this spirea bush. Creeping Charlie, ground ivy, whatever you want to call it, that's what I have there. And it's been creeping under here since this was planted, and my guess was this was in the pot with it because I did not have this here before. Spray that. Yep. Nice and easy. I'm not able to get the whole thing because I risk hitting the plant, but at least if I get some of it, that's good. By the way, I don't even think I told you guys what I'm spraying. So I'm spraying Lesco Prosecute, and basically all that is a blend of glyphosate. And I'm putting this down at the label application rate, which I'll put up on the screen here so you can see that. Glyphosate, as you guys know, although slower acting, the cool thing about it is a systemic herbicide, which means that once it gets on the leaf and it starts working, it's going to translocate or move through the plant, giving you a complete kill over the next 2 weeks or so, or however long it usually takes. But from my experience, that's about what it takes. But yeah, you spray it on, it works systemically, and it gives you a complete kill. Now, if you're looking for a faster kill, you're going to want a contact herbicide, which kills on contact. It doesn't move through the plant, it just kills on contact of what it hits. So if you're looking for a faster kill, that's what you're going to want. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to both, but long story short, we're spraying a systemic. Okay, here we go. This area here, we got some nutsedge and some more quackgrass growing. Nutsedge is definitely one of those weeds. You do not want to pull it because it'll just come back even harder. That's going to come back. It is what it is. So as you can see, I'm not really spraying them too crazy here. I'm just spraying them enough to get the leaf surface wet. By doing that, it'll absorb through the leaves nicely and give us a complete kill. Now we got quite a bit to deal with here. Now mind you, this isn't even the worst part. The worst part is coming on the other side of the house. This stuff is child's play compared to what we got to deal with in back. I'll say that right now. Now I already know what some of you are thinking, Jake, how could you let it get this bad? Well, truth be told, this is not only negligence, this is just the fact that this whole area has had roots for these babies for the last decade and a half now, and they've just been here ever since. Like, I can show you guys some clips from like 10 years ago. This creeping Jenny, field bindweed it's also called, has been here for a really long time. Yep. So, today we're going to initiate the process of getting rid of it. So I just want to show you what I mean by spray it till it's wet. So if I get down here and show you, look at that. See those leaves right there? We want that coated evenly across the weeds, just like that. I want to spray them till they're nice and wet and waxy. Okay, here we are about 7 days after we did that initial application of the glyphosate in the landscape beds. I want to go ahead and show you guys an update on the results here. I am right here in the belly of the beast on the side of the house. To begin with, let's take a look at all this creeping Jenny we had over here and what it looks like 7-8 days later. Check it out. You'll remember 8 days ago when we sprayed this area was infested with this stuff. It still kind of is, but once this stuff disintegrates, we'll get it out of here. But look at that. Dead as a weed. Dead as a weed. Couple spots we got to touch up there, but other than that, look at that. Burnt to crisp. Gone. Let's see. We had no weed, almost nothing over here. A little bit of it right there. Might have to hit that again. Come to this side of the house where all the minor stuff was. This didn't die because it's Pro Vista, but all the broadleafs we had in there died. Grassy weeds dead. All the nutsedge we had back here, that's dead except for that. We gotta hit that again. That's to be expected. The quackgrass, for the most part, is dead, which is cool. Now, is it gone for good? I don't know. You'll have to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned to see. But we got it under control for the time being. The only thing that concerns me, again, is what comes up in between the plants, because I wasn't able to spray that. But we shall see. Dead. May need another spray right there. This ground ivy may need another touch. See, that's interesting, because I always thought glyphosate would move throughout, but I guess it doesn't on the areas you don't hit. Interesting. Maybe someone could tell me about that in the comments. All of the unwanted weeds, except for a few stragglers, are dead, and because of that, we're actually pretty late on what I plan to do with this mulch here, because normally in early June, that's when I drop a fresh load of mulch. But if you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel, you're going to see a special thing that we're going to be doing here that's going to save us money and labor and give us the same look that fresh mulch does, and save us a lot of hassle in the long run, especially if you have high traffic areas. If you want to see what that is, I recommend you click this button here to subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, while you wait, I recommend you check out this video right here to see what else we're doing to have the deepest, darkest, greenest, thickest lawn on the block. Would love to have you. Subscribe.